All right, so I've heard this story before, and it's from the 1990 U.S. Amateur, and I love match play because match play brings out so many awesome things that you just wouldn't normally do in a round of golf. So, all right, this is in this book, which you shouldn't buy. All right, and you can find this story anywhere, and so in 1990, the year Phil wins the U.S. Amateur this year in 1990, and in the second round of match play, he faces a guy that, just had a history. This guy was like a rough brawler kind of dude. He had a rough upbringing as well, right? So he was just one of those kind of scrappy, tough dudes. So Phil, in the match here, it talks about what he does against this guy, and this guy's sadly, passed away of a drug overdose years later, and he early in the match, okay, this is and. It's sad that this guy had such a tough life before and after, for sure, and that this incident with Phil will probably kind of haunt the guy for a long time. I don't think it led to his troubles. He had troubles anyways, but certainly every little thing will add up and make everything worse. But, these aren't things in the moment, and you can never predict the future. So early in the match, for second round of match play, this guy, he misses the green, and Phil had stuck it to like 6 feet or so. So Phil has a 6-foot birdie putt. This guy kind of thins his chip over past the pin. It's about 40 feet away. And Phil, classic Phil, he says to him, pick it up, it's good, right? And so the guy has that 40-footer for par. Phil has like 6 feet for birdie, 8 feet for birdie. And normally, in match play, if you're Phil, you let that guy putt. He'll miss. You don't even have to putt because he'll probably give it to you. You're not going to 3-putt from there. So you would walk away. 1 up. Well, Phil just didn't give the guy the opportunity. And Phil had later said that, well, he took so long to hit the chip shot, I just didn't want to wait around. So he just told him to pick it up. He's like, I was going to make it anyways. That's how confident Phil was in the early days, college days. That's fantastic. I love that. And you should be. You should have that kind of, not arrogance, but confidence of, I'm going to make it anyways, and I don't really care. And that comes, you're young, you're just like fearless, right? Love that. So here's the thing, though, about match play, right? He picks it up. Phil drains his putt. He's 1 up. So that dude's just mentally a wreck the rest of the round, and he gets beat down pretty hard. I think 5-4 or 6-5. Like, it's pretty bad in terms of match play. And Phil goes on and marches through and ends up winning the U.S. Amateur. And great, right? It's his national USGA championship as an amateur. That's the highest honor of an amateur. Here's the thing, though, and I want people to know, like, what would you do? Put in the comments below. What would you do as a competitor in match play in a situation like this? If you're Phil or the other, like, what are the things that people have done to you or that you've done to other people that are similar to this? This is why I love match play. And I've played with different clubs I've been a member of. I've played a number of match play / team events, which are phenomenal and so much fun. For years, we would play team play, which is all match play. And if somebody was gonna do this to me, like let's say I'm playing a tough opponent, and you know that, and he tells me to pick up my par putt. Well, I have an option here. I could hope he misses, and if he makes it, then I'm like, right, he stole my confidence and he got confidence. Or I could think to myself, hold on, I'm gonna lose the hole anyways because I'm probably not gonna make the 40-footer. And if he gives it to me, and I know he's just being a jerk, or he's trying to get under my skin, Because if you do that, then I just assume like, oh, he's playing, he's gamesmanship time. He's doing something here, and he wants to get under my skin. So I'm not going to let him have the satisfaction. So I would have quickly said, yours is good too. Pick it up. I was going to be one down anyways. I'm one down if I miss, and I'm one down if he makes it. The difference is, if he gives me mine and he makes his, now he's not only one up, but he's under my skin. And I'm more scared of him now than I ever would have been. And I don't want that to happen. So I make him pick it up too. I wouldn't want to give him the satisfaction. And I wish this dude had done that, but he didn't. Phil made it, and he went on to win and ultimately win the championship. And it just makes me remember all these match play moments. Like I was playing match play and we were at my home club at the time, and I missed the green, and my opponent stuck it to 6 feet just past the hole. And I missed the green, and I chipped up, and I think I chipped it across the green into a bunker, hit it out of the bunker on the green, and then I made like a 15, 20 footer for bogey. And basically, I get a bogey, I make a long putt for bogey. And I was like, and this guy has 6 foot for birdie. And I look at my partner at the time, and I said, I'm going to win this hole. And my opponent was kind of gives me that little look like, is this good? Like, are you really going to make me putt it? And what the thing was, I was like, well, first off, the pin is, if you hit it 2 feet past that hole, if you hit it 1 foot too hard, that thing's going off the green down a hill, and you're chipping. And I knew that based on where that pin was cut. So I was like, if he doesn't make the putt from where he is, that thing's running off the green down the hill. He'll be chipping, and he'll be so mad I'm going to win the hole. And sure enough, he missed it. It rolled down the green, off the false front, down the hill, and he's chipping for par now. And he chunked it, and now he's chipping again for bogey, and he pulled out his putter and missed it, made double, and I won the hole. And then I ended up going to the next hole, which is the toughest driving hole on the course, and I won that hole. Then I birdied 17, and I'm one up going into 18, par 3. So I ended up winning the match. This guy was furious, wouldn't hang out with us for lunch afterward. But these are the things that happen in match play. And Phil is classic, and I would have loved the opportunity. Obviously, if I was ever played Phil like back in those days, I didn't even play golf back in those days, or I was just learning how to play the game. So we would have never met head to head. He was I was a hack at the time and never even crossed paths. So, but if I were good enough and I had the opportunity, I would have loved to play. And I've played against some pretty awesome competitors in terms of their match play, like strategy and skill and their gamesmanship levels, because we've all played sports, so we understand all these nuances and just the little things you can do to get under people's skin. It only takes one thing to really mess someone up. Ultimately, the better you play, the more under someone's skin you're going to get. But if you have that confidence and that swagger like Phil has, man, I love stories like that. Sadly, this gentleman that this happened to went on to have even more problems just in his life, and ends up, dying of a drug overdose. And so that kind of stinks about it. And sadly, he was on the receiving end of one of Phil's probably greatest or most, even in those days, like we had heard, I lived in San Diego, so even word of that back in 1990, like got to all of us. It spread pretty fast. I can't imagine how fast it would spread today with the internet and all of that. It would be everywhere. Those things are harder to deal with today than they would have been then. But ultimately, just as a competitor, you gotta just, even if you're on the receiving end of that, just laugh it off and go, hey man, he got me, yeah. And just accept it and move on. That's what sports should be. And that's what how I take it is like, we're in a battlefield. Afterward, let's go hang out. It's all good. Like, we gave it our best, and now we can go be buddies at the end of the day. That's kind of how I roll with sports. Regardless of what we do to each other, as long as we're not breaking any rules or really crossing any lines, we can have a lot of fun out there. So let me know your thoughts about stories like that, match play situations that you've dealt with on the golf course. Comment below. Thanks for listening. See you guys soon.